Welcome to another edition of the Moss Sports Podcast. I don't know if I can do this the whole time. My name is Andy Robertson, and I am in space. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
We've got Spencer Griffin and Mauricio, Emmy Award-winning, once again, Beltran Hernandez. Guys, we'll just go ahead and kick it off with, there's been some movement in the NFL recently. First up, Matt Ryan was traded to the Colts. You guys like that move for the Colts? Do you hate it?
I'll start this one off and then kick it to the expert. I thought it seemed like a good move to me for the Colts. I thought Matt Ryan has always been a really solid starter. Obviously, he's struggled kind of getting them over that hump, but with the Falcons, that is. But I think for the Colts have a pretty established defense. They've got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. I really think that he has an opportunity to push them to the playoffs, and then what happens from there is kind of where it gets a little hairy for him because he doesn't have a great track record there. Obviously, he led the Falcons to a Super Bowl, but we know exactly how that went.
But so could we pin that on Kyle Shanahan though? Or is that just
you could? I mean, yeah, you certainly could. That's definitely open for discussion. I think from the Colts' perspective, they gave up a third-round pick, number 72, and agreed. And then the Falcons agreed to a deal with Marcus Mariota. I was going to ask you guys: do you think the Falcons really shot themselves in the foot with this whole Deshaun Watson stuff? Because it looked like it was going to be the Browns that did this with making Baker Mayfield mad, but turns out it was the Falcons going after Deshaun Watson and ultimately losing Matt Ryan in the process. I don't know if they would have lost him if they didn't go after Deshaun Watson, but I just wanted to get you guys' take on
it. I think Matt Ryan was going to go regardless, what happened with Deshaun. I think he was ready to go. I think that definitely. I mean, the Falcons have been it's just been bad. After that Super Bowl, everything it seemed kind of go downhill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna get any better anytime soon. And I think for the Colts, it's just kind of weird because they're just like picking a new quarterback every year.
Yeah,
there's no long.
Who they have before? They had Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz. Now Matt Ryan. Who'd they have before Rivers?
Jacoby Brissett.
Okay. Yeah.
Andrew Luck was in there.
I was going to say, I know he was there.
It's been 6 different quarterbacks since 2016.
Goodness. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep. I feel like the Falcons were about ready for rebuild mode. I don't. And also this trade came after Tom Brady announced that he was coming back too. So maybe they felt like since he was coming back, they had no real shot at the division. I don't know. I just, you're going to have Calvin Ridley suspended for a year. Russell Gage left for Tampa Bay. Kyle Pitts and Cordero Patterson are like the only two guys that.
Yeah, Patterson may have to do it all again.
Yeah.
I mean, he's used to it, but it's going to really be on his shoulders now. Who do you think gets the start? Do you think Mariota or Felipe Franks?
I think it'll be Mariota.
Probably.
I thought Franks had a decent showing in some of the games that he played last year, but yeah, I can understand going with Mariota.
Do you think they'll draft a quarterback this year?
I think they will. I think there's a good chance they might.
I don't. I think they might punt on this year's draft class, considering it's not that strong, and maybe try to tank for the number 1 pick next year. And
is it Bryce Young?
I was going to say they're going to get a lot better at quarterback if you wait a draft. So I think that might be the strategy for them. It's not going to be hard to tank with that team right now.
No, and we So staying within the division and kind of to that point, Jameis Winston re-signed with the Saints, 2-year, $28 million. Spencer, you have the guaranteed money.
Yeah, it was a 14 million signing bonus and then 15.2 million fully guaranteed.
So is that a move you guys like? I know you're high on LASIK Jameis, Spencer. So
I just like the thought of like LASIK turning his career around. It's just kind of funny to think about. But he played really well with what he had before he went down with the ACL tear. Last season he was 5-2, finished with 95 of 161 for 1,170 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 32 rushes for 166 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He had a quarterback rating of 102.8, but we all know that stat is kind of garbage. So, but no, I think he performed super well, and I think that's what made the decision pretty easy for them to announce that the Taysom Hill quarterback experience was over. So I think if he can stay healthy, he could be the solution there, or at least a stopgap solution to prevent them from really falling into peril there.
Yeah, because Tyson Hill wasn't gonna do the job.
I don't know why they were so in love with that.
I mean, they're locked into that money that Sean Payton gave him when he was there. So
Sean Payton said, "Here's the money," and left.
Oh, you mean Kevin James?
oh my gosh!
What's up with that?
Bria said that she said, "Oh, Spencer, there's a really good feel-good movie now," and she described it to me, and I laughed so hard. I said, "That movie's getting roasted so hard. There's no way I can watch that with you." And I saw some clips of Sean Payton's acting, and it was really really rough.
With him as the janitor.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it. I just saw that thing that you had seen too, where he's like, the guy was giving the review of it.
Gosh, it was so bad.
Like, ha, woman in football movie doesn't know about football. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, there's no way I can watch that with her.
Yeah. I feel like Jameis was destined to go back to New Orleans. It's going to be a different situation because Sean Payton's not there, obviously.
Yeah.
But, and Alvin Kamara is in some trouble now. So,
yeah.
I mean, Winston's a lot better than Trevor Siemian, Ian Book, and Taysom Hill. So,
yeah, Ian Book kind of let me down a little bit. I thought he might have been a little better than what he turned out to be. Of course, it's super early in his career, but he didn't look very good.
Yeah, and the Saints did beat the Buccaneers twice last year. So, and Jameis was out at least one of those. I don't remember if he was out the second.
Their defense is looking a little different now too. They gave the Ravens their safety to free up the cap space. So.
And they just signed a great safety in Daniel Sorensen.
I was waiting for that.
Oh, dude, I saw that yesterday, and I was like, "What?" Like,
no, I've heard they might try for Tyrann Mathieu. So
everybody's trying for Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah.
I saw where the Raiders are too.
Yeah.
You think you could play better safety than Sorensen, Spencer?
I
think you could. I think you could, dude.
No, I really don't. I'm so slow.
No, dude. I remember the kids that played safety in high school, and I was like, there wasn't too much speed to it, you know.
Safety is a fun position to play because you don't have to track the wide receivers like the cornerbacks do. You just kind of get to lurk over the top. But I don't have the speed. I just don't.
Do you think he has the speed?
He's definitely faster than me. He plays in the NFL.
No. I seen him run.
You have some crazy takes, my
guy. Speaking of speed, we'll get to Tyreek Cheetah Hill. Of course, he was traded from Kansas City to Miami this week. Got a fat contract by doing that. I know you guys might want to kick it to me, so at some point, because being the Chiefs fan, but just want to get your guys' takes first.
Go ahead, Mo.
I'm kind of surprised that he went to Miami. I just thought he was always going to be with the Chiefs. I saw somebody post on it. It's like, this is like, like it looks like the offseason that you have like when you're playing Madden. People are just going everywhere, and like
it is crazy, yeah.
Yeah, like it's people you thought they were gonna be there, like like the Adams guy in Green Bay. He thought he was gonna be there forever too.
Oh,
And
the
then click.
Adams guy. Not the best receiver in the league. The Adams guy. I love it.
The Adams guy.
The
But
main Adams guy.
I really, it surprised me too because, like you said, Mo, I thought he was going to be with the Chiefs for the long haul. I didn't even know there was talks about getting rid of him or anything like that. But all of a sudden, you get this alert that says he's gone to the Dolphins, and you're like, wait, what? And it was apparently between the Dolphins and the Jets, and makes me even more confused. But the Chiefs, the Chiefs ended up with five draft picks. The Dolphins are paying Tyreek Hill $72.2 million guaranteed for a 4-year, $120 million extension. So that's a ton of money, and I guess I can kind of see where the Chiefs wouldn't want to try to attach themselves for that for too long, especially with the previous history that Hill has had legally. The Chiefs, after getting those 5 draft picks, now have 12 picks in the 2022 draft, and no team has more. So I really like it from that perspective, as well as I'm sure Andy will cover this as well. The Chiefs just signed Valdez-Scantling, and that was a 3-year, $30 million. The Chiefs look like they're collecting all the hyphenated names with Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
There was a post I saw on Twitter that there was the guy that someone had posted a picture of the guy who sews the nameplates on was like go from Hill to Juju Smith-Schuster and Valdez-Scantling.
It is so funny. It's a weird coincidence, given that. But no, the Chiefs also signed Ronald Jones, the former running back for the Buccaneers. So this offseason for them, unfortunately for me, has been really good with, a ton of draft picks, we've already said, and they've also replaced speed with size as far as wide receivers go, which that's fine. I think they're going to still get a ton of production with a lot of different guys. From the Dolphins' perspective, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are now the fastest wide receiver duo in NFL history. And I think a lot of it will just depend on if Tua can succeed. I know there's been a lot of talk about can he throw the deep ball, which Hill is kind of known for. Did Hill just thrive off Mahomes' ability to extend plays? We'll see. But the Dolphins did sign left tackle Teron Armstead and left guard Connor Williams to help out Tua. So that will certainly help him be more comfortable in the pocket, trying to find time to find those guys. But I think it just remains to be seen right now. It's a big question mark for me.
Yeah, so I know it was going to – eventually you guys are going to want my opinion on it. And I was kind of shocked when it first came up, but with all the movement going on this offseason, it didn't surprise me that he was about to get traded. So I saw that the Chiefs were working on a deal with him, and it was pretty much agreed upon. And then Davante Adams got traded, and he signed his contract. And I think Hill saw what Davante Adams was going to get, and he was like, "Oh, I want to get that too," or something close to that. And so that's why one of the reasons why he was traded. The Chiefs were up against the cap already, so that was an issue.
Was the Christian Kirk move before that as well?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so that could have had a role too.
Yeah. And so I think those, like, now that you pointed that out, those two things kind of really added into why Hill was moved. And it created $21.4 million in cap space. So they've got room to work with, fill some holes that they didn't have, that they still had open. I think they signed a linebacker who started every game for Carolina last year. I forget his name right now.
I was going to say, defense seems to be a spot in need where they needed that cap space.
Yeah, and I imagine they'll probably address a lot of defense in the draft. And so I think the main difference is, and I wanted to compare this a little bit to the Davante Adams trade, just because it happened recently and they're two of the best receivers in the NFL. The difference, I don't know all of the draft picks or off the top of my head. I know that the Packers received where's it at? They received a couple first round picks or something like that. And whereas the Chiefs, I don't remember. They
I could
received
read them off to you, but it's going to get lengthy.
Well, the Packers received 2 picks in this upcoming draft. I think a first and a second. Now that I think about it, and the Chiefs received a first and like a second, and then a fourth, and then 2 picks next year. You mentioned the Chiefs signed Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They signed Corey Coleman as well, I guess just for depth, and he hasn't really played for a while, so I don't know about that one. And I imagine with a deep wide receiver class in this draft, I think they probably will address one of their first round picks at wide receiver.
You think? Do they need that many? That seems crazy to me with all the offseason signings they've had with because they're still talking to Laviska Shenault from what I saw.
Well, they lost. So they lost Byron Pringle. They lost DeMarcus Robinson.
Pringle.
They traded Tyreek Hill. And so they lost at least 3 wide receivers, and I guess they kind of addressed it here. But I think also you don't really have a number 1 wide receiver in this group right now.
You could argue Juju is.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think they'll probably address wide receiver, get at least use one of their first at wide receiver, and maybe
that'll be interesting with their depth. I think they could take, and I don't know his timeline for return, but they could take a flyer on Jameson Williams rehabbing that ACL tear.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are pointing to him too. Of course, he's mocked around the middle of the first. So
is he? I didn't see that.
Depending on how teams evaluate how much he's recovered from his injury, I imagine we'll decide where he goes. Just real quick, I know people have been like, I constantly see, well, if Patrick Mahomes didn't have Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, what would
I would have thought the opposite, but yeah,
he'd be good. And I mean, people can look at the stats from this Pittsburgh Steelers game in the regular season. Travis Kelce was out with COVID. Tyreek Hill barely did anything because he was dealing with COVID. So I pulled up this website they're called StatMuse. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 8 touchdowns, 1 interception in 5 games without Tyreek Hill in his career, 1,700 yards, and a passer rating of 103.1, which you already said is a garbage stat. So I'm not worried about it. I think they kind of, I've seen where it's mentioned they're trying to morph their offense to just a 2-headed monster attack to a more of a volume thing.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce aren't the ones that are scrambling out of the pocket, extending those plays. I think that's really where Mahomes thrives, and he's the one doing it. So, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
And as far as the Dolphins, like, at least you get Hill's speed for a little bit. He's not going to be fast forever.
Yeah.
But so you'll get him, and like you mentioned, Tua may be able to extend plays with those 2 offensive linemen they signed. So
he hasn't impressed me so far, though. So I'm hoping maybe the offensive line will help. But right now, he's not looking great. And I saw him in college and in Miami struggle with the deep ball a little bit, a lot of overthrows. So we'll see if he can get that calibrated right.
Yeah. So and with their coach, we might see Hill and Waddle utilized in a Deebo Samuel type role too.
That's a good point.
The Chiefs, they're gonna get like 7 or 8 wins.
But you think they're only gonna get 7 or 8 wins
at best?
Oh, you willing to put your money where your mouth is on that one?
That's a ridiculous division, so it may happen.
Yeah, they're gonna be pinned against the wall.
I'm still not confident in their defense right now compared to what they.
I don't know how they're going to replace Daniel Sorensen. That's going to be tough.
He's the biggest loss. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, the NBA, Kyrie Irving is scheduled to suit up to play, I guess, tonight in home games now for New York City. The vaccine mandate was lifted. Spencer, I know you've got a little bit more information on this, but Kyrie he didn't want to get vaccinated, and kind of standing up for other people who didn't want to get the vaccine, who were fired because they didn't want to get the vaccine. And now he plans on playing. So I guess it was a temporary thing for him to stand up for those guys.
Yeah, the biggest gripe I have with it is because first of all, this vaccine mandate lift is absolutely ludicrous anyway, because it's just for athletes and entertainers. So it's basically saying if you're famous or a millionaire, you don't have to follow the rules, but everybody else does. So that's what irks me the most, because since it's just for athletes and entertainers, will he still sit out? Absolutely not. We know he won't. I might respect him a little bit more if he did, but we know it won't happen. So that's obviously super hypocritical, because he claims to be standing with all these people that got fired for the vaccine mandate, but maybe only millionaires and famous people. But I think all this is really just happening because the Yankees and the Mets, and you'll have more information on that, Andy. Players like Aaron Judge and Anthony Rizzo would have missed something like 95 games or 60% of the season. And we know the Yankees are huge over in New York. So they weren't going to let that happen. So that's the real reason this is all happening is the New York Yankees and the Mets. So Kyrie can thank them for that. But I'm not going to say too much more on it. It's just he's Kyrie, and all of this stuff surrounding him has just irritated me this whole time. So
yeah, I put in my notes, doesn't he kind of win the stalemate with the vaccine being lifted, because he sat out, and it I mean, I know it wasn't an NBA thing, but it was just kind of like, it seemed kind of like Kyrie versus New York City in a way.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say he does, I guess in his mind he sees
he'll take it. Win. Yeah. And as far as the Yankees and Mets, like, just being a Cubs fan, I know the situation with Anthony Rizzo on the Cubs. He wasn't vaccinated, and he was one of several players on the Cubs that weren't vaccinated, and I think there were rifts in the clubhouse that it had caused, and so I mean, I don't know, that was all hearsay. So, but yeah, Yankees, I think they re-signed him to a 2-year contract, so they knew that they had to have known that this vaccine thing would have been lifted eventually.
They knew that COVID restrictions were only for poor people.
Right. Yeah. So just going back to NBA real quick, Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra got into it on the bench the other day. Udonis Haslem had to intervene, and Spoelstra joked about it after the game. So is it serious? Is it something that we need to pay attention to, or is it just, kind of played out in the public and now they're trying to keep it under wraps kind of thing?
Mo, did you see it?
Yeah, I think I'm still amazed he's still there coaching.
You
said a couple weeks ago he's better than Popovich.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously there's gonna be, because he probably has a big ego from all those LeBron years, and then Jimmy B has a big ego, so of course they're gonna clash with each other. There can only be one leader in that team.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. My question is, like, does this prove what people thought all along? In saying that Jimmy Butler's a locker room cancer, because we saw those rumors. I think we saw him a little bit with the Bulls. We definitely saw him with the Timberwolves and the 76ers, and now possibly with the Heat. So my thought is, where there's smoke, there's fire. But I do think you're right, Andy. I think it's blown a little bit out of proportion. It happens. It happened to occur in the public eye, where typically this is a locker room type situation. But that was just kind of an unfortunate. I think a lot of it can be attributed to stress on both sides, on both parties here, as far as Jimmy and Eric Spoelstra. Jimmy Butler's been playing terrible. He was something like, this month he was something like 9% from 3, and last night's blowout loss to the Nets, he had 7.6 rebounds, 4 assists in 2 of 9 shooting. So that just kind of shows you how he's been playing lately. And then Spoelstra, his son recently had a pretty major surgery, so he had to miss the next game after this little spat. So I think that could have added to the stress as well. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue going down the road. Do you have anything else you want to say on it? Because I do have a list of some NBA things that have been going on. One of them involves your team.
Well, so you mentioned some of it might have been happening with the Bulls with Jimmy Butler, and I think him and Dwayne Wade that year, the the Bulls stupidly signed Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, that was weird.
I think they were kind of upset about the younger players not putting in a ton of effort from their perspective. Butler's just passionate. I mean, he came from, I think he was living on the street at one point in his life to being one of the best two-way players in the NBA. And so, like you said, I think it's just one of those things that it happens. It just happened in the public eye, so people are talking about it. I mean, we saw in the NFL this year, two of the Commanders players like got in a physical altercation. It happens in dugouts in baseball. It happens all the time. It just seemed like it happened in public here, and largely I feel like Jimmy's been quiet in Miami, just doing his thing.
He has been pretty quiet in Miami.
Comparatively to especially Minnesota. So anyway, I'll let you get to
He's
your list.
Distracted by Kyle Lowry's dump truck. So in the NBA, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, going into the playoffs. We're nearly there. But I just wanted to highlight a couple things that happened. If you guys wanted to comment on them, you could. So the Suns got their 60th win and clinched the number 1 seed, and Chris Paul is back.
Crazy.
It is crazy. And
I didn't realize they were doing as well. Like they had the record like that until recently. I was blown away. I know you're happy about that.
Mikal Bridges is playing great. Devin Booker is playing great. People are arguing for him to get MVP. It's not going to happen. But then we've got in the East, what happened to the Bulls? They're now the 5th seed, and 5 through 7 is separated by 1 game. The Bulls are
bring on the play-in.
The Bulls are pretty much. The Bulls are 0-16 against top 3 teams in both conferences. In their first 36 games, they were 26-10, and in the 37 games since, they're 16-21. I'll go ahead and ask you what's going on, because they were looking super good in those first 36, especially with DeRozan going off, and now they've just seemed to fall behind.
I think a lot of it is people have pointed out to Nikola Vucevic's defense is not great. And so that's a problem. Patrick Williams is coming back from injury. I think he came back this week. Lonzo Ball had a setback in his rehab.
Is Williams playing now?
Yeah, he came back.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay.
Yeah. So he should be able to help Vucevic a little bit. I saw like Caruso still dealing with his fractured wrist from the Grayson Allen play.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's not completely right, even though he's playing. And then, like I said, Lonzo Ball he suffered a setback in his rehab, so he's not. His defense isn't there. So
I expected him to be back a lot sooner.
Yeah, it's just a lot of different things, and I think DeRozan had that crazy stretch of games where he was playing out of his mind, and I think he probably came back to earth too. So it's just a mix of things where it just not a lot's going right now, and so
and you mentioned that DeRozan stuff. Same thing kind of happened to Harden when he started off with the 76ers, played great. Now he's kind of regressed back to yearly similar stats with the Nets. A couple of other things you did mention. You mentioned some injuries. I'll highlight James Wiseman is officially out for the season for the Warriors.
Oh, speaking of James Wiseman, Memphis has some sanctions coming their way, I think.
Yep. Penny Hardaway getting them into trouble.
Yep.
So the Warriors are looking kind of rough right now too. So we'll see if they can pick it back up for playoff time. And then another young team that I'm really excited about is the Grizzlies. They clinched a playoff spot. Shows that some youth is dominating the league. I love it, but they're doing this all without Ja too. 17-2 in games without Ja, which is absolutely insane. You mentioned in a previous episode about Steven Adams and his offensive rebounding. Well, that came to fruition because he broke the Grizzlies' offensive rebounding record in a season with 333 offensive rebounds. Previous record was 330. You were spot on that.
Who did that? Was that Zebo?
Probably. I think it was. I could be totally wrong on that. I don't know why I didn't even look it up, but
no, that's good.
But yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. Suns got me excited. I'm ready for some playoff action. I'm dreading the play-in action. It's garbage because Mauricio's team is gonna probably make it through.
I was just looking that up.
I will say the Pelicans are challenging them. to miss the play-in, but the Spurs beat the Pelicans the other day.
The 7th
Or
or
the
10th
Spurs
seeds,
are
right?
too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So it's 7, 10, and 8, 9 matchups, right? So the Lakers will be playing the Clippers. If they
That could be spicy.
Yeah. So the Spurs are only a game behind the Pelicans for the 10th spot.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see all those situations toward the end of the season. I know the Lakers have one of the tougher schedules to end the season.
Good.
But yeah, I agree. But we'll see. And then also interesting, if they do play the Clippers, will the Clippers have anybody coming back from injury, or are they gone for the season? We'll see.
Yep.
MLB time.
So we've got a couple things to hit on for MLB. The runner on second, the Ghost Runner, is coming back. Extra inning Ghost Runner. Just get your guys' take on it first. If you guys like the idea of having a runner on second to start extra innings, or if you prefer to have it to where nobody's on base.
I'm expecting Mo to say something absolutely insane here. Go ahead.
For extra innings?
Yeah.
They should just do like kind of like a home run derby. Whoever
I
misses,
knew it'd be
whoever
something.
misses 3, at bats, then the other team wins. Kind of like penalty kicks.
I had thought about the home run derby, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That would
Just
be...
like just throw it. See, the first one that misses, they're done. They lose.
And they light the ball on fire too.
Something.
And we have issues with the NFL overtime rules.
They need to limit, before the pitch, kind of like they drag on, like throw the pitch. It takes like 30 minutes.
That's the pitch clock coming out.
Yeah, they did fix that a little bit.
They should only have 10 seconds for the next pitch. Get the ball. You got.
You talk about a different rule change. We're on the Ghost Runner.
I'm just throwing it out there, man. It's baseball's too long, and takes too long.
They're trying to fix. That's
40
what this is trying to fix.
40 game seasons at best,
40 games. That's nothing.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
dude. Like,
yeah,
100.
would say something.
Who wants to like who would watch 162 games? I bet even the guys are like, like they're in the dugout. They're like, it's Wednesday. We're playing like the 100th game of the season. You're just kind of sitting there, can't even look at your phone. You're just like, man.
This is why you're a fan favorite.
What am I doing with my life?
These novel ideas. Even my own mother doesn't pick her own son. Picks you because you try to make things interesting with 40 game MLB seasons.
That's wild.
If you think about it, they spend like 8 months out of the year or more.
Oh no.
Spring training and then season and then playoffs.
The spring training doesn't count.
You get to Christmas and then like Christmas is done and then you're back in spring training. You're like, what the
It's incredible.
Your kids are probably like, where are you, Dad?
My God.
I don't think you really got to think about it. They literally spend like their whole year like doing something.
A stand-up set right now. I know this is just like a temporary rule change, but it still sucks. Like I've seen some interesting arguments, not only against this, but in favor of tie games.
Oh,
which I'm all about. I know this is everything. I think if the extra innings are so awful, why not just bring back ties? Because the 162 game season's too long anyway, so we don't need a win-loss outcome every time. The league standings can sort that out for the playoffs. It works for soccer and hockey, and I honestly think it worked still really well for baseball. Ties are just kind of necessary for low-scoring sports. It is what it is. If you want to, you could still have like a 10th inning, and then if it's still tied, call it a draw. Yeah, obviously you would bring back extra innings for the postseason, but overall, yeah, I think the Ghost Runner sucks, but that's just my thing. And I have been freezing hard, so you guys just continue on without me while I fix these issues.
You're frozen. I don't like it, but I understand the need for it this year probably because you did have that lockout that took up 3 months out of the year to it essentially removed training for a lot of players over that time, especially with team. I mean, I'm sure they were training it in some way, but probably not as much as they could if they were at a facility for getting away from their kids. I I don't agree that there should be a 40 game season because that's usually the games that don't matter a whole lot. But I do like how you brought up hockey though, because I like their system. Makes a lot of sense to me. The 2 points per win and one point for overtime loss. So I can get behind that. I think at some point you're gonna have to, if you do that, you're gonna have to be like, okay, if you don't score, if one team doesn't win by the say 15th inning, then that's when you go into Mauricio's home run derby idea, because something's got to give. Because games, I mean, Mauricio mentioned games are getting too long, and just that we've seen a lot of extra inning games last into the 16th inning to the 18th inning. It's just too long at that point. And like you said, the season's a marathon. So with expanded playoffs coming in, I can see them shortening the season eventually to maybe 154 games, but I don't know that it'd be too much.
You don't think they'll shorten it to 40?
No, definitely not 40. So
80 will be okay then.
80. That's small. That's shorter than the NBA and NHL.
Kind of like, because the NBA season 2, you're like, it's 82 games.
Oh,
yeah,
like,
they do complain that the NBA is too long.
It's too long because then people don't really start watching until it's close to the playoffs and then the playoffs.
As a fan, I want to see more games, so
more games
doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, I'm not more in the season, but like I'm fine with a long.
Like
season.
The NFL would be okay with like 20 game season, you know?
No.
Yeah.
NFL wants people to die.
I was gonna say NFL is a lot different, especially because of injury stuff, though.
That's true.
Well, the NBA, or no, well, you got me guys on something else. The NFL. Oh my gosh,
he can't get sports right.
No,
Mauricio, you've broken.
Okay.
Major League Baseball is enacting a Shohei Ohtani rule where if a pitcher is removed from the mound, they can remain in the lineup as a DH. I think it used to be if the player was removed or the pitcher was removed. Let's see, how was it? How did it work? I think somehow you had to, if your DH was removed, if you did a double switch or something. I don't know. I'm confused.
I thought it had something to do with the double switch.
Yeah, if there's a double switch, and I think you have to remove the designated hitter in your pitcher bats. And good grief, Brian Gumbel's looking old.
Gumble the Gumble.
So is that a good thing? Will that encourage more two-way players?
I like it because that's why I've been wondering about that too. With the emergence of Shohei, I thought that he might have some issues if he did get pulled, like because that brings a whole other aspect, like how soon can you pull this guy if he's struggling because you still need his bat. But now that kind of fixes that, and I really like it, especially because they've made the universal DH. So I thought, if a pitcher can hit and you're doing a universal DH, and then it's tricky, but now he can. So yeah, I like it.
It's your most take.
I'm ready. On the edge of my seat here.
No.
He just
What's the note to?
What Spencer said. I don't trust him.
He's just being the contrarian to be the contrarian.
I don't trust his ideas on that.
Mauricio's turning this into the first take.
He got me losing it. This is the best season or best episode for Mauricio so far. Hands down. Oh.
Anyway, I think the two-way player is kind of, until we see more people succeed as two-way players, I think it'll probably be just Shohei Ohtani and that, because Tampa Bay has a guy named Brendan McKay who he was sought to be a two-way player, and he got some time in 2019, but he hasn't really played since then. He had 10 at-bats, or 10 official at-bats, I should say, and he had 2 hits in that span and hit 1 home run. So
it's too small of a sample size.
Yeah, too small of a sample size. So I don't know. I just, until another guy comes along, I don't know that we'll see it be a commonality, because even then Shohei Ohtani he doesn't pitch a normal schedule as everyone else does. So you're going to have to factor that in as well. And with roster sizes already being 26 after May this year. It's going to be I don't know. I don't know that it'll bring the two-way player to be a more common thing. So,
Yeah.
The two-way stuff, that's only on one league, right?
well, it can be in both now because the DH is in the National League now.
But like that kind of confused me because it was one league before, right? One league was the only one that did it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, but especially for baseball, again, you come back, it's so long, right? And then you have a guy that's pitching throughout the season, but then you also expect him to, I guess, like bat or something like that too.
Yeah, but he's not playing the field, so it's not like he's ruining his arm in the field. He's just swinging a bat.
I don't know. That seems like a lot of work, for them.
It seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, because like I mean, it's like like in the NFL, like if you had a wide receiver and then you're like, oh, you're gonna be a two-way player because the AFC is gonna be a two-way league, but you're gonna play you're gonna play linebacker on defense. Like
this isn't the NFL though. Like injuries are super minimal here because, like Andy said, you're getting in the box and you're swinging a bat. You're not hitting other guys in the head.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot.
Do you want to skip this next topic about free agency or spending or no?
Oh, I made some points with it, but we can.
Oh, okay. No. Let's talk about
it. Yeah. So we have a list of, and I changed. I looked at Sport Track, and they had a different team in there besides the Reds. So.
Well, I know. Yeah, I was gonna say I know things have changed.
So we gathered kind of the highest and lowest spending free agency teams, and I know it's been tweeted about as well. So the 5 highest teams are the Rangers, who spent $580.7 million. The Dodgers spent $267.8 million. The Mets spent $258.5 million. The Tigers spent $235.5 million. And the Phillies spent $204.15 million. And that's like the length of the contracts. It's not just for this season. The 5 lowest were the Athletics, who spent whatever Stephen Vogt's contract will end up being since he signed a major league
Before
deal.
that, it was 0.
Yeah. The Guardians spent $900,000. The Orioles spent $7.9 million. The Pirates spent $12 million. The Brewers spent $12.9 million.
And so the Reds changed a lot then.
Yeah, they jumped ahead. Let's see here.
Is it that Tommy Pham signing? Did that cost that much?
I don't know. It might have been.
I don't even know who that guy is. I just saw the news and I thought they did something. The tank is over.
Yeah, Tommy Pham. He was on the Padres the last couple of years. He was a St. Louis Cardinal before that.
I kind of remember that guy.
Yeah. So the Reds. Let's see here. I have the numbers.
I'll be interested to see if that single signing pushed them that far out.
Oops. The Reds are 7th now. Spent $14.825 million.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and just the point I wanted to make, I searched for the net worth of the owners of each one of these lowest spending teams just to get an idea of how much they make and if there's a reason for why they shouldn't be spending money. I guess not make, but what their net worth is. So the Athletics owner, his name is John Fisher. His net worth is $2.6 billion. And I guess I should say these were from Forbes, and these numbers are from MLB Trade Rumors, but they got their numbers from Forbes and like various newspapers throughout the country. So John Fisher, Athletics owner, $2.6 billion. Their opening day payroll is $40 million or $40.95 million, which is the 4th lowest in the league.
Heck of a margin.
Yeah. The Guardians, the Dolan family, who also own the New York Knicks, I believe.
I roll.
Yeah, $4.6 billion. Their opening day payroll is $37.41 million, which is the 2nd lowest. The Orioles, Peter Angelos, $2 billion. Opening day payroll is $30.37 million, which is the lowest. The Pirates, Bob Nutting, $1.1 billion, which opening day payroll is $37.875. It's the 3rd lowest. And then the Brewers, Mark Atanasio, $700 million. Opening day payroll is $118.3 million. So
it's a tight gap.
Well, I wanted to include those because
relatively
shows-
speaking.
Right. So it shows that the Brewers owner, even though he's not worth $1 billion, is spending at least a large chunk of his net worth on the team.
Yeah.
Whereas these other owners are not spending anything relatively.
Yeah.
And you can't sit here and make the argument that the Dolan family shouldn't be spending money on a baseball team. And personally, I think if you're an owner and you're not spending a certain percentage of your net worth, then you probably need to give up the team. Because I'm sitting here, imagine being a Pirates fan who have been good for maybe 2 years out of the last 30. Like, what's the incentive to continue being a Pirates fan if you know that ownership doesn't care about the baseball team?
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna keep doing it because people still show up every year.
Right.
Mhm.
People are still buying season tickets. People are buying merchandise, even if they're like the worst team ever.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much if you buy any sports team, really, you're pretty much printing money because they're gonna make money regardless of how bad they are.
There's no real push for them to be like, oh, we need to win a championship because like the money's still coming in, regardless if we suck or we're good, you know.
And that's all the owners care about is just making more money.
Yep.
And I guess in baseball sometimes too, right? You don't even need to spend a lot of money on players, and you end up winning a World Series and stuff like that. So
yeah, you can be successful not spending a lot of money. It's just a matter of you're not spending money.
I mean, I wouldn't spend money if I had a team like that.
Yeah, I would.
On the money ball route.
Yes, college players, you know, people from like, you know, you can get like good players from Puerto Rico in baseball and stuff. The Caribbean.
Who is the money ball guy for the A's?
Billy Bean.
Billy Bean.
Roll that beautiful Bean footage.
Oh, come on.
No incentive.
Yeah. Now I see what you're talking about, Mo.
Yeah. I mean, the Astros for the longest time, do you remember they were like losing 100 games a season?
Yeah, they were bad.
Well, people still showed up.
I think that's when I went to see them, ironically. That's when they were still pretty bad.
Yeah. That's when I think Abby used to. She said back in the day you could get like $3 or $4 tickets for any game.
Yeah, I will say that about
Astros.
baseball. Like, it's a lot more affordable to go to a game than it is to say like football.
I went to Houston with my youth group in 2010, maybe 2009. Either way, it was Astros and Cubs game we ended up going to, and we had nosebleed seats, and it was when both teams were pretty bad, and we ended up moving down into the lower bowl and sitting somewhere.
Nice.
Like, it was the stadium was empty.
How many beers did you drink?
I had a total of 0 because I was with the youth group. I don't drink anyway, so
I was laughing at that one.
Yep.
I feel like he says no, but like, you know.
He was in the bathroom pounding beers between it.
Hey, what was that motion again?
I was just about to ask Mo what that was
You're gonna have a Charles Barkley churro situation.
Clip that.
Put that on a t-shirt, underdog.
All right, we got to skip the USFL again.
That's fine because I didn't prepare much on that.
Yeah, it would have just sent Mauricio into conspiracy tizzy anyway.
Mauricio loves the USFL rules. Oh boy.
Good rules.
So college basketball is still ongoing. Right now St. Peter's, which is still blowing my mind that they're continuing to play.
Yeah, what are they? The first 15 seed in the
Elite
Eight?
Yeah, and they could eventually. They beat North Carolina here. They'll be in the Final Four.
North Carolina will kill them.
You got to take your glasses off to do that.
Well, yeah, I guess I didn't, but sometimes I get a glare. Don't call me out like that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so we're all hoping for a North Carolina win.
Yeah.
We're winking for our listeners, audio-only listeners.
I'm pretty sad because at the same time I wanted to do that same wink when Arkansas was set to play Duke, but they played too soon. I couldn't reverse jinx them. Eric Musselman said thank you to everyone who said we didn't have a chance, and I was going to come on here and say they didn't have a chance, and then they were going to win.
Well,
but no.
Do you think he's going to be at Arkansas next year?
He seems passionate for them though, but I don't see how some team doesn't throw just like all the money at him.
Some NBA team, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, because I don't see any other college job right now that it's worth like, I'm gonna leave Arkansas for this other college job that's opening up.
Right now, yeah, no, but when UNC was open, I was scared that he might go there.
No,
Well,
UNC and Duke are all though like, oh no, it's gotta be somebody from the family.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Duke has hired a predecessor, I guess, or has a
Yeah, that guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought so.
So that's what I was thinking. NBA. I was like, he's really hot and he's coached in NBA before like that. So
Yeah,
like,
but I just don't. That jump doesn't happen as often as you might think.
I don't know. I think so. I think he's gonna leave for the NBA. Dude. I just have a feeling.
The NBA is trending more toward old players becoming coaches
Mhm.
more than college basketball coaches.
And I think also too that Musselman, I think Arkansas hasn't reached that next tier yet. Because I was thinking about this last night. Like Duke was too strong for them. So, and I know that was just one game. Arkansas has beaten the number one team a couple of times this year, but I don't know. I think Musselman will Hunter Yurachek will throw a ton of money at him to stay
I know the fans are certainly hoping so.
because he already did that with Sam Pittman.
Yeah, and Dave Van Horn, I think, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
which Dave Van Horn's been there forever. So
Yeah. Another one game I did want to highlight. We don't have to go through all of them, but I did want to highlight the Villanova and Houston game. Villanova just edged out Houston in one of the lowest scoring games in Elite Eight history, 50-44. And I apologize to anybody who has to watch that game. It was pretty rough. Houston, but we'll start with Villanova. From 3-point range, Villanova was 5 of 21, and Houston was 1 of 20. That's never gonna win you a game, and it just reminds me of same town, same story in the playoffs. The Rockets missing 27 threes in a row, but it was absurd to see them not 1 of 20 from 3 is absolutely insane. Another stat that stood out to me that may speak volumes as to why Villanova has had so much success this postseason and why they might still continue to have that success is they have one of the highest free throw percentage in a season in history. I think if they're on track to finish how they're shooting now, they could end up number one in history as far as free throws go. And we all know free throws are a huge part of the college game. So I think we got to watch out for them maybe in the Final Four and the championship game.
yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, do we have an update on our competition? Definitely not our bracket, but on our draft.
Oh, on our draft. Yeah, we do. So we still have, like I mentioned earlier, North Carolina and St. Peter's are playing right now, or they're about to tip off one. And so we have one final game left to play for.
How many players does each person have left?
So at this moment, before the North Carolina game, Mauricio has, I said St. Peter's, North Carolina. We didn't pick any St. Peter's players. Mauricio has 3 players left.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then I have 2 prior to the North Carolina game. And Spencer, you have 2.
No, I'm gonna lose.
So standings right now goes I'm leading with 436 points total. Spencer, you have 380, and Mauricio, you have 345.
It's gonna be tight, Mauricio. It's gonna be so tight. Who are the guys that Mauricio has left? I know he's got the guy from Villanova. He technically only has 2 guys left because the guy from Villanova just tore his Achilles, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Justin Moore.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because if he did, then I'm going to go ahead and blank out his numbers.
But you don't have to right now. It's not official. They still have to do an MRI, but it looked pretty similar. It was either in a calf or an Achilles tear. I don't think he's coming back. He left in crutches, maybe even a wheelchair.
Yeah. I don't want Justin Moore, the country singer. Gosh. Yeah, he's got Armando Baycott.
Oh, he's pretty good. Okay.
Justin Moore, which you said he might be injured, and then Christian Braun for Kansas.
Oh yeah, okay. And then I could kind of cancel his Christian Braun out with my Ochai Agbaji.
Yeah, I've got Paolo Banchero and Caleb Love left.
You're good. You're gonna win this easy.
And then you've got Agbaji and Colin Gillespie from Villanova.
I still have hope. I thought I was losing pretty bad. Okay, there's still hope.
I'm surprised I had pulled ahead as much as I have, but
yeah, I know during the Sweet 16, we lost a lot of players.
Yeah.
I lost 2 of them alone on the Gonzaga Arkansas upset. I know you lost 1 on Michigan.
You lost 5 in the Sweet 16. I lost 4.
Oh, you lost 2 on the Purdue game.
Mauricio lost 4.
It's been fun. I'm definitely enjoying this game though.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace from
The traditional
picking
bracket.
the bracket. Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking, like, I know the bracket we picked was garbage from the beginning, and then mine have been garbage, and I haven't really cared about it. But I've been paying attention to this, and it's been
I think I'm surprised it hasn't caught on more. Like that they haven't started on those sports websites and the fantasy websites doing something like this.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking I don't think you can get too many people involved in one league because it would get a little too chaotic. Yeah, it'd get watered down.
I don't know. It might still be pretty fun though, because then you have to start really strategizing like the upsets that you might think and things like that, and then trying to go for players that are just going to have one huge game. Like, let's say Oscar Sheboy was on a worse team that was like a worse seed, and he had 30-point game. That's a lot of points for somebody that would be an underdog.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway. So like Spencer said, Duke beat Arkansas, or we talked about Duke beat Arkansas. So Duke is headed to the Final Four for Coach K's final season.
I don't want to have to watch a UNC Duke matchup in the Final Four.
Dude, yeah.
It's gonna happen.
So stupid.
Like,
oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
Oh, okay. Is there something in your eye?
Yeah.
But that'd be rough. So, and then St. Peter's and Villanova and Kansas, I guess, are playing.
Yeah.
So
next Saturday at 6.
That should be a really good game, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Which Kansas destroyed Miami.
Miami hung in there for a minute.
Yeah. Awful second half. 15 points in the second.
Yeah.
Compared to Kansas, it's 47.
It's been like the worst one of the games this weekend.
Mm-hmm. I will say Miami was fun to watch this tournament, though. I really enjoyed watching them. It's fun to watch some guys. My friend Cody brought this up. Is kind of what makes March Madness fun, is watching these guys that it's kind of their last effort in basketball, because they're not going to go to the NBA, but they're still playing their hearts out, and otherwise you wouldn't get to see these guys play. And then also, I just really love their coach, little Larry David looking guy. He just seems so nice and sweet. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned the 3-point shooting for the Villanova-Houston game. Yeah. Miami shot 3 of 21 from deep. So
gosh, it's the ball. I'm telling you, it's the ball.
They were awful. Mauricio doesn't find a problem with the ball. We know that. Ooh, let's see here. Rebounding differential. Kansas was plus 14 on the boards.
That makes sense. That's the area I figured that Kansas would dominate, because they've got McCormick inside, he's a really good rebounder.
But Kansas was rough from the free throw line. 13 of 26.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, that's going to be a huge difference. And like I said, I brought up the Villanova free throw percentage. That's going to be huge if Kansas shoots like that from the line again.
Yep.
That could be the sole thing that keeps Villanova in the game.
Ooh, that was weird.
You guys want to wrap it up?
Oh no. North Carolina's winning by 2 points. It's 2-0.
Oh, it's game over. Peacocks are going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
I'm a peacock captain.
Gotta let me fly.
I really like their coach too.
So you don't like the other guys? What was wrong with the other guys?
Oh yeah.
See, guys.
Wait. Before we go there, I did see a really interesting stat or little tidbit of information. So the coach for the Peacocks actually played in the McDonald's All-American game with Kobe Bryant, and he won MVP over Kobe in that game.
He was really good. I forgot what
Seton
was
Hall,
it?
right?
Yeah, he played for Seton Hall, and one of his teammates was really good, but he got recruited to like I don't know if it was like Kansas or Duke or somebody, and he was like talking about how like they came in and recruited his friend, but not him, even though he was like a McDonald's All-American.
I thought that was pretty crazy. I didn't know anything about it until.
Yeah, he's really good apparently.
But yeah, the other guys wasn't very good.
Oh, bro, what?
Yeah,
Dude,
that
it's
movie
like
wasn't great.
it's the best movie ever.
Nah, it was one of Will Ferrell's flops.
Nah, dude, they call him Gator.
Was that a Will Ferrell movie or was that a
Mark Wahlberg movie?
Mark movie?
Okay, well, it was a Mark Wahlberg flop then.
So I did want to bring this up just real quick. I know we've got limited time left. Doug Edert, however you say his name.
Oh yeah, the guy for the Peacocks.
Yeah,
the guy who doesn't eat sandwiches.
Well, he's apparently going to be eating a lot of Buffalo Wild Wings because he signed
did he get a deal?
Yeah, he signed an NIL with them. I forget how much it was. It seemed like a lot, and I was just
nice.
I was sitting there
why
wondering.
them?
Because their thing is to promote chaos in basketball game or in sporting events with the
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Buffalo Wild Wings button.
Push the button. Yeah.
No, I was just sitting there like, it's kind of. I know St. Peter's. A lot of people didn't know about St. Peter's. I certainly didn't know about St. Peter's before the tournament.
I'd never heard of them.
It just kind of like, I don't know. It kind of seems, I don't want to say rubs me the wrong way, but it seems weird that Buffalo Wild Wings comes through after St. Peter's just kind of makes a name for themselves instead of.
Yeah. But
I guess that's the nature of business. So.
Yeah. I can understand that, but yeah. The
thing I was Black. That's that guy's name.
He's a ballpoint pen. The thing I was referring to, I saw an Instagram post the other day. It said he tried what's his name? Edert? That he tried a sandwich and he didn't like it. He doesn't eat sandwiches anymore. Tried chicken parm sandwich, didn't like it. But he's gonna get a lot of Buffalo Wild Wings sauce in that mustache.
Yeah. The flavor saver.
Oh no. Oh my god. That was good.
I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up.
Yeah, you got to start taking credit for these.
I know. I don't want to be a Amy Schumer.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
So. Well, that'll be the end of this episode, I believe. Anyway, so
Mauricio does it again. Solidifies himself as a fan favorite.
Yeah. We got to start being crazy, Spencer.
I know.
Something.
I don't know what to do.
Let me put I know what to do.
How can you compete? Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's the part they like.
The low angle.
Anyway, like, share, subscribe. We added iHeartRadio as a source to get your podcasts. So it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Of course, video will be on YouTube. And one of these days, we will need to start making money.
Yeah.
Get some sponsorships.
Hit up our Patreon. I got Cash App.
Venmo, PayPal.
We'll hop on Twitch. The usual.
All right, guys, get your Facebook Lives ready to go.
See you later. Mauricio, we got to start practicing. So.
Am I about to blow a 50-point lead?
You're not blowing that lead. It's not happening. Like, unless our guys drop like a 50 burger out of nowhere. It's not. And even then, I don't know if we'd catch you.
Out of nowhere.
But, I don't know. It depends on if Caleb Love moves on today or not.
Yeah. Mauricio's going to have to find a park somewhere to go shoot it. All right. I'll see you guys later.
See you guys.